Pokémon Horizons episode 107 just gave us one of its most breathtaking episodes of all time. It really felt like the perfect moment where everything building up over the past few months came together and created an absolute banger. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy my review video, and now let's dive into it. The episode began with Diana and Hamba rekindling their friendship, and that made me way happier than I expected. I loved that in a way Liko and Amethio brought them together again. They're two grandchildren figures, you know? But then Hamba tells Diana that Spinel has captured most of the 6 heroes, and I imagine Diana will tell our heroes all about that in the future. Both Diana and Hamba believe that Liko and Amethio carry the will of Lucius and Gibeon, and that they're going to be the ones needed to take down Spinel, and that definitely feels like foreshadowing, and I can't wait to see it happen. Meanwhile, Uruto chases the explorers to a huge Exceed headquarters. He sneaks in, but pretty quickly gets found by Spinel, Indy, and Rubella, who use the gravity move to restrain him. Luckily, he manages to fling Sableye to safety, allowing the little guy to escape. And then shortly after, in the wilderness, Sableye manages to find Roy and begins leading him to the Exceed headquarters. Meanwhile, Uruto is being taken hostage, but he gets a brief glimpse at Pokemon being held captive in cages. And those Pokemon just so happen to be the 6 heroes. The 6 heroes are right here in the headquarters, dude. And then simultaneously, Spinel and Chouse are discussing the idea of using the 6 heroes to enter the Ryzen Voltacklers once and for all. They want to use the 6 heroes against our heroes. And man, I can already see what's going to happen in the next few episodes. Uruto will probably think nothing of the caged Pokemon because he doesn't know about the 6 heroes, but then when Diana reunites with Liko, she'll mention what Hamba told her about the 6 heroes being held captive. And then that'll make Uruto connect the dots. He'll realise that it was the 6 heroes that he saw caged in the headquarters. And that'll build up to a perfect climax of the arc, with our heroes breaking into the headquarters to free the 6 heroes, only to be shocked when Spinel has taken control of them with strong spheres, leading to our heroes having to battle the 6 heroes all at once. That's gonna be insane, man. I can't wait to see it unfold. I love when all of the little story threads come together like that, you know? Meanwhile, in his prison cell, Uruto is feeling really low and quite lost, honestly. He's on his own and all he has is a Dragonite who he doesn't really know, who he doesn't have control of, and to be honest, thinking about it, it feels like a massive oversight for Spinel to not confiscate Dragonite, to not confiscate the Dusk Ball. Spinel knows about it and he knows how overpowered it is, so why wouldn't he have taken it from Uruto? I thought Spinel was meant to be a genius, but what kind of genius leaves their hostage with the equivalent of a bazooka? That feels kinda weird, dude. Anyway, suddenly Roy, Lucario, and Sableye break in, freeing Uruto, really taking him by surprise, and Roy's priority is immediately apologising for their disagreement, their arguing, their misunderstanding yesterday, and that leads to the two of them rekindling their friendship in a really nice scene before they begin their escape. But then, as expected, they're stopped by Indy and Rubella. What's really interesting is that Indy and Rubella switch their 2 Darmanitans. They trade their Pokemon, so then when the Darmanitans enter their Zen mode, they match their trainers' colours. Dude, I love that little extra characterization. I love that Indy and Rubella are picky with colours. I love that they're on the same wavelength with a lot of synergy together to be able to trade Pokemon. It made me appreciate the two of them a lot more, and let's be honest, they really did need that. So Roy and Uruto send out all of their Pokemon while their opponents use their strong spheres. This is Kilowattrel's first battle in so long, dude, so I really hope he doesn't get shafted. Early on in the battle, none of Roy and Uruto's attacks are really doing very much because of Darmanitan's increased defense from Zen mode, and then the explorers suddenly summon 4 Ravska too, and I loved to see that, man, because I had a Ravska on my Pokemon Scarlet team. I loved that little guy, even if my stream chat wanted me to get rid of him every other second. The 4 Ravska use gravity, sending our heroes' Pokemon crashing down to the ground, and they really just had to nerf Kilowattrel like that, huh? That's basically targeted harassment. Galarian Darmanitan then does huge damage to our heroes over and over and over and over, and every time they try and fight back, their attempts are destroyed by gravity and then they're hit even harder. Nothing is working at all until Roy and Uruto realise that one thing not affected by gravity is shadows. So Roy's Pokemon form a human shield, or should I say a Pokemon shield? Not to be confused with the actual Pokemon shield. Anyway, Yeah, they form a shield around Sableye, allowing Sableye the chance to use Shadow Sneak, doing huge damage. And then it turns out that that entire thing was also a distraction, because Cap has been up high charging a Volt Tackle. Cap then uses the added downward force from gravity to smash into Darmanitan harder than ever, knocking it out. Dude, I didn't know we'd get a science lesson mid-battle. Since when were Roy and Uruto so knowledgeable about science? They knew that gravity doesn't affect shadows, that the downward force from increased gravity would lead to increased acceleration for Pikachu. That's so awesome, dude. I love how they turned the gravity thing against Indian Rubella. And hey, maybe Roy and Uruto did meet Clement in Lumio City during the time skip, like I theorized in yesterday's video. Because we all know Clement is a man of science, and science is amazing. Maybe Clement taught him all about it. However, despite our heroes popping off and actually managing to take down one of the Darmanitans, one of the Rabsca just effortlessly uses a Revival Blessing, bringing Darmanitan back to life immediately. And that made me realise, our heroes are cooked, dude. Indy and Rubella begin beating up Roy and Uruto's Pokemon harder and harder and harder and harder, and obviously Roy and Uruto know now that no matter how many times they take down Darmanitan, one of the Rabsca will just keep reviving it over and over. What a brutal strategy from Indy and Rubella, you've really got to respect it, you know? They have our heroes up against the wall. But then, when it feels like all hope is about to be lost, Uruto has a big character moment. He realizes just how bad he wants to help his friends, to protect his friends. And it's revealed in a flashback that Uruto's father gave him Dragonite in the Dusk Ball as a kid, and his father told Uruto that when he fights for other people, Dragonite will respond. And so, because of this, Dragonite bursts out of the Dusk Ball, wanting to fight side by side with Uruto, wanting to protect everyone. Dude, I love that Uruto got the Dusk Ball with Dragonite inside from his dad. It feels like a perfect parallel to how Roy got the Ancient Pokeball with Rayquaza inside from his granddad. And then, when Dragonite is summoned, to everybody's shock, Uruto's Keystone suddenly begins glowing, leading to a climactic Mega Evolution moment. And man, we get our first ever Mega Dragonite in the Pokemon anime! It really does look so much better in the anime than it did in the games. It's genuinely beautiful, so angelic and majestic. It genuinely took my breath away, dude. It was such a beautiful moment. It really has such an enlightened, godly, angelic kind of vibe. And it shows that sometimes seeing a Pokemon's design in motion in animation, that can totally change anyone's opinions. And now let the Mega Dragonite sweep begin. Uruto commands Dragon Rush, which defeats all 4 of the Rabsca in one go with immense power, and then Mega Dragonite and Mega Lucario strike hard with their strongest attacks, defeating the 2 Darmanitan and defeating Indy and Rubella, and that allows our heroes to escape. Everything that happened today helps Uruto to realise that he doesn't want to be the strongest trainer just to be the strongest trainer. He wants to be the strongest so that he can protect anyone around him that needs it. And that's how he thinks he's going to connect with Dragonite even deeper too, by protecting others. And that brings Uruto and Roy closer together as friends too. I loved this moment, man. I'm glad we got something deep and profound and character heavy from Uruto here. It really does bring his character to a new level, a new depth that we haven't seen before. And then once Roy and Uruto have gone back to the airship, the episode ends with Molly and Uruto having a heart-to-heart moment. This really took me by surprise, dude. Basically, Molly sees herself in Uruto. After all, she too ran away from home and found who she truly was out there in the world. And that's the exact arc that Uruto had in the past 2 episodes. I really didn't expect such a sweet bonding moment between Uruto and Molly. It just goes to show how deep the writers understand their characters to even make that connection between them. So overall, this episode was absolutely peak, dude. The battle was intense and so strategic. All 4 of the trainers were popping off left, right and centre. What I loved a lot also is that Indy and Rubella actually felt like threats, finally. And I also loved everything with Amber and Diana, seeing them rekindle, reminisce on old times, and try and find the way forward to the future through Liko and Amethio. And then of course everything to do with Uruto's past, with his father and wanting to protect people, leading to him connecting with Dragonite. That was way deeper than I expected, and it made me love him as a character so much more. I do have a slight concern about Uruto being able to so effortlessly Mega Evolve a Pokemon he only just met for the first time ever, because I feel like that kind of disrespects and messes up the lore established in the X and Y anime. The X and Y anime made it super clear that the bond between a trainer and Pokemon has to be unfathomably deep with a huge amount of trust in order to achieve Mega Evolution. So much so that even Korrina and Lucario, who were siblings their entire lives, even they couldn't achieve Mega Evolution without Lucario turning into a demon. It took them so much effort to fix their lack of synergy and their lack of understanding of each other. So seeing Uruto and Dragonite managing to perfect a Mega Evolution on their first day of meeting, I do kind of worry that that minimises what makes Mega Evolution so special. It minimises the whole bond factor, you know? I am willing to let it slide this one time, because I think the writers were trying to imply that Uruto and Dragonite are connected, on the whole saving other people level, so I guess that must be important enough to them both to make the Mega Evolution work. So although I am a little bit iffy on the lore side of things, I can see past it, especially because the moment was so insanely beautiful and jaw-dropping that I can't not love it, you know? It was just too good. Let me know your thoughts on the episode below, and feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. That'd really help me out a lot, dude. Come join our Discord server or become a channel member using the links in the description, and thank you so much to my awesome current channel members. That includes Luke Strom, Hope, Not Mini, Melissa, Blazing Shots, Jay, Toten, Dowpals, Juscadia, Shiny Charm. You guys are legends. And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!